Hello, Scott Jared here, and today I have a wonderful guest, Brian McCall with Platinum Recruiting, and he has a great topic to discuss today on hiring A players. Now, I know everyone has great vision and great ideas for their business and where they're going to go. And what I found, as from my coach, Dan Sullivan, just wrote a book. It's not the how, but the who. So he has a great book out there. It's called Who, Not the How. And I think it's a really good read. And I think Brian here is an expert in that and how to find A players. So really looking forward to hearing from him today.
Yeah, appreciate you having me here, Scott. And been at this for a while. Been in the staffing industry for 20 years. As far as hiring A players, it's kind of a variety of things that go into that topic. It's pretty broad. But I think as far as kind of starting out, it really, whether you're looking for top talent, A players, whatever you want to call it, it really starts with the strategy of the business. What are the goals of the business? They look into 3x growth over the next 5 years, and really understanding what are what's the balance of the team, where's the deficiency. So whether you're a business or a sports team, you're figuring out, hey, where are those gaps, and where can we go find those people. As far as the A players, a lot of it is not just, hey, this person's qualified on paper. It's fit with the company, the culture. I know a lot of our clients would rather hire somebody on potential, versus somebody that's got credentials from Harvard and a sexy looking resume, and they come in and they clash with the culture. So the fit's one of the biggest important things I think when people are looking for that right talent, the A player, on how to develop them as well, giving them opportunities to succeed in the future. If you hire 8 A players that all want your job, that creates a difficult environment and obviously can lead to some challenges in transition.
So I think in my experience is working with high-powered entrepreneurs and small business owners, they're trying to do what the one thing I always talk about, like if we're going to hack our future and what we're going to do, our main slogan is always having money work for people. Mm-hmm. Well, you also want people to help you. So it's making your money work and making people at work. So we get other people to work and create a big vision for yourself. So we've had different speakers come in like on EOS and talk about this entrepreneurial operating system. So you have like a CEO, an integrator, you've got your operations director, your sales and marketing, and your finance person. So we know what this org chart looks like. We've got a vision for our business where we want to see ourselves in the 3, 10 lifetime goals for the business. So now we got to go put the right people in the right seats.
Absolutely.
So let's say I've just started this business. I'm owner, CEO, and now I need to find this CFO, or I need to find that right person that fits that seat. So what would be like where would I start? Like how am I going to find this person? So I call you up. I was like, hey, Brian, I need help. What do I do?
Yeah, I think the first thing I mentioned earlier is really assessing, what are your goals for the business? Hey, I'm going to go to 50 to 250 million in the next 5 years. So a lot of it is really understanding, what the financial goals are, the personal goals, for the executive team. But also, what's the balance of the organization and what's the culture like? And that's a big thing for us before we even initiate and start a search is really understanding what is that culture. So we're not just assessing technical ability, but we're assessing fit, the culture piece, because that's as important as somebody's technical ability to come and do the job. So to get back to your question, I think is hey, if I'm going to be a company that's going to 2x, 3x growth down the road, I've got to find the talent that's been there and done that. I think that's the trap that companies can fall into is they consistently try to hire people for what they need today, not what they need 2 and 3 years from now. So you're not just assessing what's the current fit, what's going to be what's going to work for this company in the next 3 to 5 years. So there's tools a lot of companies use. We've talked about predictive index, culture index, disc profiling, those kind of things. It's one other tool to use in the process. But ultimately, it's getting those people engaged to come in, and for us to go find them. It's a long conversation, before we even pick up the phone and make a phone call. Is really understanding what the goals are of you and your team and the vision of the company, and then we can go to market and find the right talent. Okay,
so I know when we worked in the past, we have 6 core values that we live by within our company, and we try to hire, fire, promote, develop based off those 6 core values. Mm-hmm. So I remember we talked, and I was like, here's the core values we're looking for, and here's the position. And then literally you would say, all right, here's the profile of that person that would fit. So I remember we would go and you would actually have that index. So we would say what that personality profile, if it fits, being that, because that CFO role.
Correct.
So that's the process.
Yeah, because I think that's, you want to identify what that person brings to the table as far as, the needs. But a lot of it, like I said, is really the balance of the team and getting, the profiles of the rest of your team, whether you're using, predictive index, culture index, of really assessing, how is this, if this person's, a complete anomaly, it's never going to fit. They can be the most qualified person on paper. But if they come in and, it's not a culture fit, I mean, that can train wreck.
Yeah.
Everything that the company's, spent, 5, 10, 15 years building, one bad person can be detrimental, to the business.
Because we talk about like unique ability, like find someone that loves doing that position, they have energy doing it, and they just could do it all the time. Like if we can, like so when you're researching for, how do you find people that have these unique gifts? I've met with many of your CFOs you placed, and they're all very talented in that position. Like, is there a secret to that? Like, how do you find these people?
Yeah, I mean, there's no silver bullet, in our business. I mean, a lot of it is very relationship based, of really getting to know them at an early point in their career. We were just talking earlier that a lot of people that I know now that I'd placed earlier in their career, fast forward 10, 15 years, they're now CEOs, owners of companies, executives running companies. So those relationships evolve over time, but a lot of it's really just getting to know that person. What are their goals too? That's the other side of finding A players and top talent of that match of assessing what their goals are too. Where do they want to be in their career? That's where we spend a lot of time vetting the candidate side. So you've got kind of two cycles going on with what are the company's goals and aspirations? What are the candidates' goals and aspirations? And as a third party, that's where we come in and find the match. Because I mean, a lot of these people. I think our clients and people need to remember that they're in a good situation now. What the company's got to offer has got to be something more compelling and better than what their current environment and current situation is. And it's not always about money and benefits and those kind of things. It's about the team, the culture, the opportunity, who are their mentors, and what kind of an impact can they make in the company. So there's a lot of dynamic things that go into finding the right fit. But ultimately, if we do our job as a recruiting firm, our matching is so high that the retention is exponential. But like I said before, we're not just looking at what are the goals today, what are the goals over the next several years of the business, and we don't want to put an A player or a top talent in a situation where, hey, this company's just plateaued, they're not doing anything for the next several years. That's not a good fit for the company. It's not a good fit for the employee. And the other side of that is you got to look at what's the cost of a bad hire. I mean, that can be. That's on average, $20,000 to $30,000 between just what you're paying that individual.
That's a good point.
With salary, benefits, lost time of whoever trained them. I mean, what's their time worth? What are they? What's their compensation?
Yeah.
So that number can be pretty compounding. So it's important that companies really take a step back and take the time to assess the fit piece, and not just, hey, this person looks awesome on their resume.
So do we hire fast, fire faster, or do we hire slow, fire fast? Like, there's two different philosophies.
It's got to be a balance. Yeah, it's a unique situation because we're in a market now that it's getting back to where we were in early 2020, where it's highly competitive. Unemployment's continued to go down. I think nationally it's under 8%. Indiana's roughly 6%. But when you're in a situation like that, these candidates have options if they're good. If you're looking for the top talent, they know that what they can offer a company, and it's competitive. So I think if companies aren't moving quick, it can be detrimental that you're not going to get your best choices hired. And doesn't have to be 24 hours, but if a company's serious about making a hire, within week to 2 week time frame, I think is realistic. A lot of it's aligning. If it's a high level search, aligning schedules can be tough too. But like the analogy and anything in the world is time kills all deals. So if companies are taking a month or longer to make a hire, that's usually not going to weigh in their favor.
Yeah. So that's interesting because I'm in this business all day and I see all these businesses doing well and I hear this, but I listen to national media and the words are there that we're in a major depression and there's no jobs and there's like people that are all struggling really bad. And then I hear that there's a big gluttony of not enough top talent for these positions.
Yeah.
I thought that's an interesting.
It is. And that's a great point because, on a top talent that, I mean, when a company has to furlough or downsize or, make cuts, I mean, you're typically cutting the bottom 20%.
Got it.
So when people see that unemployment number of, hey, it's 8% or it's 15%, whatever that number is, those are not the A players. You're not going to cut loose your A players in a company. Those are the ones that are more that passive, job seeker that, their situation's pretty good. I think companies have to recognize that, hey, look, if we're going to hire somebody that is that talent, we've got to sell this person on why, they should come work for us. And I think that's one thing that companies can kind of fall in the trap of really just getting stuck and asking interview questions and not, taking a step back of, what are we offering this person that they don't have now? Otherwise, there's no compelling reason for, me or you or anybody to really change jobs and give up what they've already built.
Got it. So we get a lot of that where people will leave jobs or something and say, hey, I want to get into financial services or different businesses. So do you guys have a track for that? Like, so that bottom half got cut and now they're saying, hey, I need a job. Like, well, here are the skills you need to do to become that COO. Here's the things you need to develop to be this person. Is there a certain track you try to, or maybe career development with people that are looking that...
Yeah, I mean, people in transition, we're always trying to coach them too on what didn't work out in the last situation. So for us, it's really taking a step back. I mean, we're going through a really extensive interview process, with the people that we're hiring, and I think our clients are doing the same things internally as well with their internal talent acquisition teams. Of if it didn't work out, why? And I think the best indicator is talk to references. I mean, there's no secrets to hide when you're talking to references, and it gives you credibility too on, hey, just because this person might have been in a bad situation doesn't mean they're a bad performer. So there's a lot of things that go into that too. If references are key, typically past performance is a good indicator of future success. So looking at their track record, and if something didn't work out, is taking a step back to, hey, everybody's been in a bad spot at once in their career. If it's 6 of those, that's a track record. That's something you got to be careful of. But everybody's been caught up in a deal where it just didn't work out for whatever reason. The company lost a bunch of clients and they had to let top performers go. But at the end of the day, it goes into really making sure you're taking your time to assess the talent.
Okay, I have another one for you. So we had a client that came to us and said, look, I need a CFO. I really need it. And we're like, okay, you should do that, but here's the cost of that. And I sent him over to you, and you're like, that's a lot of money. So what other options do we have? Like if they don't want to maybe bring them on full time, do you have another option of that, like something that could work with people like that?
Yeah, depending on, again, we're assessing the client's needs on a daily basis. So if they're not quite ready to hire somebody on a full-time basis, as a firm, I mean, we do have an outsourced solution that we can put somebody in on a contract or consulting basis. The win-win with that is you get to try it before you buy it situation. Same thing for the candidate or the employee it is a good model because the employee may go there and, hey, this is the place I want to work for the next 10 years, or they may say, hey, look, I'll work on this in a project, but just not the right fit for me. The client gets to see their performance, and the candidate gets to evaluate the company. So if there's 60, 90 days that go into that, that's another process that can work on more of a consulting contract to permanent situation. If any company engages in a recruiter, I mean, there's a fee involved. I think what we try to encourage our clients is, look, it is a fee, but it's an investment. What's the investment of a bad hire? That's going to be a lot more than typically one-time fee that we gather for whether it's a staff or an executive level role. And we're putting a guarantee behind the people we place too. And that's our job, as our clients are paying for us to bring top talent, because that's all we do is connect with those people on a daily basis. So we know where all the people are kind of behind the scenes of what's their motivation in their career. So hey, if that client calls me and says, I need a CEO or a CFO, whatever the role is, I'm looking for these things, we typically have a lot of people we've already vetted in relationships. And if we don't have it, we've got a team of 100 plus years of experience. We can go to market and find exactly what that client's looking for.
So it doesn't have to be you need that person right now, so you can outsource hourly or that type of contract with you, and then you're getting a top talented person that you can work with, so you don't.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of times you go through all the interviews and you think you make a good decision. You have them meet the entire team. You ask all the questions you need to ask, and maybe less than 5% of the time it doesn't work out. But if somebody's in there on an interim basis, they've got a chance to really see, how does this person perform? How do they interact with my team? Are they a good fit for our culture? And before they pull the trigger on a hire, because whether it's staff or executive level, there's always a cost involved.
That's good. Yeah. So who, not how, baby.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's good.
But I think a lot of it, for whether it's us or a company hiring on their own, is really just understanding the why of what do we need, why do we need it, and what is what's the where are the gaps on our team that we need this person to come in and contribute. And like I said, finding people that can kind of fulfill that role today, but can mesh with the team well enough, or hey, they're just not doing their job. They're going to be a team player, help other people out when they need it. So that goes. There's a lot of things that go into hiring a talent. And top performers is not always the person that you said has the best school or has worked in the best companies. We've both hired a lot of people too, just based on potential and fit. So I think that's given somebody the opportunity to come in, and training and development's big. I mean, once they're in the door, it's up to the companies to obviously hire and train them and do what they need to do to make them successful.
Yeah, I think there's a happy balance between drive, you want it.
Exactly.
Like I know, like when we have the core values, either they have them or they don't, and either they want it, they get it, and they have the capacity to do it.
Correct.
And a lot of times it's not really the education. It's like, do they get it? And that's important. And then what can we develop within that?
Yeah. And you can give somebody all the assessments
Yeah.
in the world and still miss something, but it's one of those kind of checks and
Yeah.
balances of, if your whole team's done it, you already know kind of the demographics of what works in our environment. So we're trying to hire people that are like-minded and similar, and everybody's kind of, you're getting the right people on the bus, and everybody's kind of rowing the boat in the same direction.
So you spend a lot of time with the entrepreneurial business owner that's trying to do something, so you can clearly align their vision with what the org chart looks like and the right people in the right seats.
Yeah, and we've done
That's
this
what
long
you
enough that because we're really more, we're not just providing talent. It's definitely more of an advisory relationship that we've done this. A lot of our team's done this for 10, 15, 20 plus years, and it's not just entrepreneurs. I mean, our client base is pretty diverse. We work with entrepreneurs, emerging startup companies to Fortune 50 clients.
Wow.
And every there's a different fit too. That's where it goes down to
Yeah.
fit is, hey, somebody from a Fortune 50 company may not be a great match for a $10 million business, and that's where I think the companies really need to assess of where is that fit and what background's going to be the right situation.
Yeah. Well, I know you've helped me find top talent, and people have left those big companies and say, hey, we have good spot here, so it's been good.
No, every company offers something different, and big companies offer something different than a small to mid-sized company that you're getting more breadth and variety of work.
Yeah.
But you got to find people that goes into really assessing what's that candidate's goals. If their goals aren't aligned with the business, then it's not a good match. But if it is, that's where I think you can get those companies that are looking to achieve a certain multiple of finding somebody that's been there and done that, and they can bring the value of bigger company ideas, processes, systems, potentially other people they've been connected to as far as their employees, and they're building teams around that.
So retention's always an issue. Like, is there a certain methodology for how do you keep and retain those key employees when you get them on? Is there a certain theme you see? Is it I'm giving them stock options, right? They have non-qualified deferred comp, they got 401k, or is it just we got health and dental? What is it? Yeah. What is those things
that's it's a great topic because when unemployment's so low, retention becomes critical because people are seeing more opportunities. They're not looking, but they're getting knocks on the doors from it could be a recruiter, could be another company, could be a former colleague, boss, mentor that reaches out. And if the companies aren't doing their job of, I think the one big thing companies have taken a proactive approach on is really engaging their employees more frequently and kind of pulling them on, what are their goals too. You're not always going to have A players, but what do we do with the people that are content doing what they're doing? But if you're not, interviewing and assessing them, they could be 1 foot out the door, and it's too late by the time you try to save them. And it's not always about stock or deferred comp or equity. I mean, that's a good retention piece, if a company's looking to really grow exponentially. But a lot of it is the intangible things too. Like I said, culture, the team, who are they working with? And that's been the tough thing with, the pandemic and COVID is, teams just dispersing, literally overnight, really takes away from the culture. And that's a big attraction for somebody, changing jobs, especially a high performer is culture and somewhere where they feel, they can be successful. And you take that away, that's I think we'll come back to it, and I think we're seeing a slow kind of emergence of, what's the future of corporate America looking like. I think it'll be kind of a hybrid work schedule of, a couple days in, a couple days out. But I think that's, one thing that makes our firm unique is we've got such a dynamic team. We love working together, and that's what I think people are really after is, you can collect a big paycheck, but if you hate doing what you're doing, then it doesn't amount to a whole lot.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you think with what's happened in our society now, you think this whole the workplace is going to be different?
I think so. Yeah, I think the landscape will change. I think companies are going to have to adopt to doing things different than we did even 6 months ago, and that goes into attracting top talent too. Is people do want a little more flexibility. I think they've figured out that hey, I can do this job partially from home. If it's a leadership role, I mean you got to be engaged in your team too. But I think it will change. I think there'll be a hybrid schedule. I mean right now companies are. The bigger organizations, there's an indefinite timeline on they may not even go back until the middle of 2021.
Well, I used to travel every other week to go to different offices, and now Zoom's been my best friend. It eliminated the airplane just wrecked the airplane industry, the whole airline industry really, because now I can do virtual meetings on Zoom or do events like this so everyone doesn't have to fly in to see us all speak for a day or for 3 days.
No, it's made it a lot more efficient. I mean, obviously technology's changed the way that we've all done business, whether it's Zoom meetings or texting, email, software platforms. But Zoom will never replace something like this, the face-to-face conversation. But it has definitely expedited, I think, how people are interacting with meetings.
Yeah.
You don't have to hop on a plane and burn a whole day, going somewhere. You get it done in your office, and you obviously your efficiency goes up too with your work.
Oh, absolutely. I see productivity going through the roof.
Yeah.
Like we've got offices all over, and like our New York office, they haven't been able to get in there at all. So they're working remotely, but they're having their best connections with their clients, growing really powerfully. So,
and I think for every 2 or 3 companies that are struggling, there's 5 or 6 that are embracing the change of what we're going through, and they're coming out better on the other side of it.
So the next generation coming up, the millennials, right? Mm-hmm. They're all like high maintenance, like like these guys in here doing the video, who didn't like their corporate jobs, so start a marketing business. So like, what do we do to get guys like this to keep them from quitting? Like, is there something like that culture that we need, like, to give them that sense of empowerment that they can do it within? Like, is there stuff you're seeing? Like,
there's no really perfect solution to that, because I think a lot of it is just expectations can be very different from our generation versus the generation ahead of us too. Of they want it better, faster, and they want to make the most money. So trying to compete with that can be challenging, but I think is really taking a step back of what's going to motivate them. If it's work flexibility, hey, we can provide that. It doesn't really cost a whole lot.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things companies can do to attract talent. I think that don't always, it's not you have to pay the highest salary. There's a lot of things you can do, I think, culturally or with other kind of intangibles that are still going to attract that talent. But a lot of it goes down to if it's just somebody that's got unrealistic expectations, then that's a no-win situation, and you need to find the people. There's for everybody that's like that, there's probably another dozen that are the hard workers, the grinders that are going to put in the effort.
Right.
And if they need to work from home, hey, that's awesome. But let's find a way to make a balance of we got jobs to fill, our company's growing. If we don't, that creates turnover because people are overworked, and nobody wants to work the 60-hour weeks. It's a grind.
Well, I know for me, I'm like on that edge of millennial, so I was definitely unemployable. Didn't make it very long in corporate America, so I didn't do well with that. But now that I have to be in charge of people, and help them be successful, the culture to me was very important. So like having a gym in the office, having spark fountains and cakes on tap, and golf sim in the office has created that tech vibe. I think that people are looking to the Googles and the tech feel as you go. Like Developer Town, like Michael Kelly was just on, and you go there and they have little tiny houses. They just move from place to place. It's a whole different culture of what attracts people that really are working for companies that may or may not go next level. And I've met some of the CFOs you place, and these companies are in tech businesses that have a failure rate of very high. So to get them, so it's all value, it's all mission, it's all like trying to go for that piece.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's kind of setting the vision of the company and then hiring the people to go with that, because like each company has a very different culture, and that's where the companies really need to assess what is the fit of this person. If they're not going to fit in our culture, then hey, let's shake hands and we wish them well. But that's what makes companies unique. It's the culture piece too, and that's what's going to attract top people to go work there.
So your industry your business personally is like absolutely taken off. I've seen what's happening. So do you think there's a shift to like companies like yours to find these talents? Like, is there something happening in the industry is just a lot of transition right now? So like you're having super success on outsourced resources. You're having a lot of people coming and going. Is there something happening in the economy in the world right now that's different?
Yeah, I think coming in before COVID is we had the lowest unemployment ever. Companies are struggling to find good talent, and they don't always have the resources internally to go find it. So I think with us being highly specialized in what we do, allows us to give our clients a very specific level of candidate. But the service is important too. And like I said, the relationship goes back of these 10, 15, 20-year relationships we've had. But the bigger part of it is just a shortage of good labor and good talent. And in companies, typically, a lot of them don't have the internal resources, to go find it. And a lot of the small companies, they may not even have an internal recruiter or, an internal HR department, where we can be kind of an extension of that, of doing everything from the recruiting to the onboarding and everything else after that, and the retention, and that comes into play as well.
Okay. So not every day, at least once a week, I'll probably get a business owner to say something like, I'd be so much better if I had the right people. If I just had someone to do this, or I'm overworked, I got all this stuff. So if we're going to find this A player, and you're talking to that person right now, and you need to get them out of their head trash or help them think, like, what would you tell them that they need to do right now?
I think the number one thing is just take an opportunity to meet some people. It goes into what are their challenges, and hey, let's find people that can meet those challenges. Because I think a lot of times we get busy in execution mode. We don't take the time to really assess what's going on in the rest of my business or our company, and how do we find other resources to do it. So to your point about that person that's struggling is really, okay, let's write down 5 or 6 things you're struggling with. Let's put a plan in place, to go find that person. Because what they may be looking for is something different than what we can provide of, hey, have you thought about this? We're trying to provide kind of out-of-the-box solutions for our clients that, they think they need a CFO when they really maybe need more of a hybrid, COO type person.
Like an ops CFO.
Exactly.
Type.
When they start talking about responsibilities, I'm like, well, you told me all this, but there's nothing financial related to that. So that's a lot of it for our clients is I think sometimes they don't know what they need until they have a conversation, whether it's somebody like us, an outside party, or with you as a financial advisor, or their bank or their attorney, of really kind of getting them to sit down and sketch out on paper what are the challenges. And a lot of times it may be exactly what they need, or it may be, hey, you're really looking for this kind of person, and that's where, like I said, it goes into putting the right person in the right place.
Yeah. It's like in this, with all these 21 speakers, like we have all these people that are doing that stuff. So you can meet with someone to do EOS and help you create your vision and your core focus and all those things. You got you can do your culture index and all those things and purposely and build out that whole ecosystem and manage your whole people. You could go find a talent. And we could help keep and retain those employees and help get all that stuff in. So I think we have a pretty good ecosystem to help with all this and today. So, but that was great information, and I love the fact that now we know exactly what to do when we find someone, and it's important to really know what you want.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
And then once you figure that out, then how do we get a hold of you?
We'll put our information on the website and on the video. But no, I appreciate the time, and like I said, I think it's a great opportunity for kind of a collaborative effort of, you can accomplish a lot more with, a specialized team of something, everybody does something a little bit different, and kind of this, referral wheel network of, highly specialized people, and you're an expert at what you do, I'm an expert at what I do, and so are these other people, and that's, I think, in my career where I've built some of the best relationships is, just getting connected to other great people, and that tends to lead to good things.
So from what I'm hearing, if you're going to hack your future for 2021, and you're going to be the top 1% of business acceleration, right? It's the who, not the how, right? And we got to build that bench, right?
Absolutely.
We got to build that bench. We got to know what we're looking for, and we got to map that out, and we can go tackle.
Yeah, no, I think it's almost more critical that companies, do that now, because as the economy continues to take off, as once you're at capacity and you're working, it's hard to spend the time to go find that talent. So hey, let's get that talent on board now, so we can kind of ride that wave, and our business will hopefully take off.
It's good. So it's never bad to have a stack of resumes
and
people that you know.
They just got to be the good ones.
And just know you, right?
Absolutely. Help people like us.
That's it. So thanks for joining us, and thanks, Brian, for your time today. Appreciate and can't wait to see you all hack your future.